For the consumer, there are three areas of everyday life that are going to be particularly impacted by this budget. Starting with housing affordability, what we've seen introduced by the government here is a raft of new measures which look to improve supply of housing, reduce bottlenecks in terms of the provision of infrastructure that supports that new housing, and also some tax measures which will look to try and incentivise older households to look to downsize and therefore increase the supply of housing, and an increase in restrictions on foreign investors, which together will actually seek to improve the supply of housing to ordinary Australians. The second key area is education. Here there's been both winners and losers. What we've seen before the budget was the announcement of a new needs-based system for primary and secondary education, and this budget provides the funding for that measure. We're looking for about $19 billion in additional funding through the next decade. About 10% of that will come in the next 4 years. Now, the way this is going to be funded is through a number of changes to the university sector. Fees for courses will be increased by about 7.5% over the next 4 years. There'll be a lower threshold where payments on student loans will be started to be paid back. And in addition, the government will be looking for efficiency dividends across the universities sector. Finally, in relation to the health sector, the government has announced that the Medicare levy will be increased from 2% to 2.5% from 1 July 2019. This has been announced for one particular reason, that is to fund the National Disability Insurance Scheme, where there has been a funding deficit that is known to be required going forward. While this is an increase in tax for almost all Australians, it is a very important measure because it will look to provide support for many vulnerable Australians for a long time period to come. Finally, we'll conclude with the implications for the RBA. It is fair to say that the government has done enough in this budget to keep the AAA rating for the foreseeable future, and their expectations around growth are still relatively robust, with trend growth expected from next year onwards. That being said, there is a number of risks to the outlook, and that will likely mean that the RBA will be quite comfortable staying on the sidelines and retaining the cash rate at 1.5% through 2017 and indeed 2018. And past then, we'll have to really assess the conditions that the economy finds itself in to see where the RBA might take policy next.